I'm not even gonna lie to you, my mind drew a whole entire blank for a second. I just stared at this computer trying to figure out what I was supposed to do with my life. Just no idea. Was at an absolute loss. But we've remembered what my life's purpose is. So that means we can get going. Salutations, friends. My name is Brianna Sikiyama Bond, otherwise known as No Ordinary Scholar, and we are continuing the Catastrophe incoming series with book 4, The Labyrinth Beckons. And honestly, can we just take a second to appreciate this color pink in, it's on that side, the color pink on this cover catches my eye every single time. I truly adore it. But before we really get into reviews and whatnot, let's go over everything we've got down in the description below. First and foremost, that I also write books. If you care, if you're interested in supporting me that way and checking out anything I've written, these are books that I have. This is A New Throne, which is the first book in the Queen of Thieves series, my YA Spy series, and Imani and Aaliyah's Fashion Bible, which is my debut romance, both of which are going to be linked down below. There's Amazon links if you want to buy it. There's also Itchio links. You can buy it there, but you can also just get the books for free. The first book of the Queen of Thieves series and Imani and Aaliyah's Fashion Bible are on there. I'm working on getting the rest of the Queen of Thieves up over there. But again, yeah, you can just go check out the books for free on that site. And down below, you will also find some links to a big spreadsheet that has a bunch of gathered and vetted GoFundMes for people in all of the different crisis zones across the world, because there are a lot right now. You will also find, speaking of which, you will also find, because that spreadsheet's going to have people from Haiti, Sudan, Congo, as well as several other countries in that region. They also do have links to the Olive Branch Project, which was the accumulation of GoFundMe's for Gaza. And fun fact, Canva, the super popular easy graphic design tool, is a Zionist company. So I have linked down below for the entire duration that I am going to be using Canva to work on and help figure out graphics and stuff for the channel. I am going to be keeping links down below to non-Zionist graphic design programs. I actually was able to make my thumbnail for this video as well as my themes page in a different graphic design program. The goal is to be fully exited out of Canva. It's just super fucking annoying to try and pull and remove my assets and stuff from there, but we have links down below to, and in the interim, to non-Zionist graphic design programs. Snappa is one that is basically the exact same thing as Canva, just smaller and not Zionist. I am not currently using Snappa just because, again, the frustration and irritation and everything I'm going through right now to try and get assets out of Canva. I would prefer something that just uses files from my direct computer, so that way I know I have all of my things. And so I am currently using Inkscape, which is a free graphic design program, which has been working great for me. I also have a link to a different presentation program to do those kind of Prezi style things, which I am going to go back to for my quarterlies. That is Sozi, is that program. That is also linked down below. So you refresher, everything linked down below, all of the ways you can support me and whatnot, including these books, which you can also get on Itchio for free. The links for the non-Zionist graphic design programs and links to donate to people in crisis, all of that and more down below. Let's get into this book review. No. So The Labyrinth Beckons picks up with where our gang kind of left off at the end of the book 3. At the end of book 3, they find that in this town that they had just saved from some bandit crew, Nightingale had just been through there, killed the librarian, and stole information on this secret labyrinth outside of town. So our crew found like the actual hidden away information with the map and everything to the labyrinth. They get to the labyrinth, and here we are. The reason Nightingale is trying to get to or at least it seems, our gang is following her to the labyrinth because there's said to be a power source there that a lot of people could use, especially when there's an ongoing war. A lot of people could use to tip the scales of said war, and they're under the impression that whoever broke Nightingale out of prison probably has sent her on a fetch quest for this power source. They get to the labyrinth, and it is a labyrinth with a bunch of trials of self that you have to go through speaking of trials of self, it has a bunch of trials of self that you have to go through, and if you are successful, then you get to go through to the next section of the labyrinth. They catch up to Nightingale because she is failing one of the trials, and that has called on this monster, this mechanical snake monster, to come and kill her. And she's obviously trying not to die, but in the chaos of this monster trying to kill her in a fairly confined space, and she's doing a decent job of avoiding it because she has teleportation magic. In all of that chaos, Ren and Reverie are able to sneak away to the next room to get to, like, past the trial, get to the next room, the door shuts behind them. Now Lark at least doesn't have to worry about Nightingale killing one of them for whatever duration of time. But now they still have the monster. Nightingale and Lark are able to defeat the monster and are now just forced to share this small space with each other until there is a point where they are able to find a secret exit. I won't get too into it just because I think it's a very cool concept there that I don't know how that's going to build further on in the series, but it is a very interesting concept in this world that we're seeing. But they're able to find a secret exit and use that to move forward and try and get to other places into the labyrinth. And Lark is trying to stop her because if she gets out and she's let loose and set free, she is going to kill a lot of people. That is just who Nightingale is. But that also sucks because Lark still loves her, and they wish she could be different, but they know she can't, and she still loves them. It's a whole messy situation with these two emotionally, and it is very interesting to watch them try to maneuver around each other. There's this book. For me, I feel like Lark's voice in the series is one that I struggle with the most of the group. I feel like there's a lot more, and I was realizing it as I was adding like a lot of my Babel notes. It feels like a lot of the voice kind of feels like a, what were they called? Footnote. They feel like a footnote that isn't visually or like visually identified in the text, so it was throwing me off on whether or not it was part of the narrative, and that was something that was throwing me off a bit whilst reading the book. And it was, what did I describe it as? Just like having footnotes interjected in the story with no warning, and so that would throw me off. I feel like Lark's story, because of how it ties to Nightingale, and because Nightingale ties directly to the whole overall story, I feel like we're we're waiting for so much more for the story that Larks is trying to tell. If that makes sense. Like when book 3, we had the story of saving this town, and I think that has the like tie into what's coming later with whenever we see those bandits again. But they had like the concealed story of what's going on with this town. You have the concealed story of this labyrinth, of like they're going through a labyrinth and they get out. That is the concealed story, but it definitely feels like it feels like a part of a far broader story because of how distinctly it is. There's like no resolution to it aside from they get in and out of the labyrinth, because of how so much and how pretty much every aspect of what's going on with the story of the labyrinth, very similar to how in the very beginning book it felt very exposition-y because every aspect of it was just trying to get us started into the series. This feels like it's also really trying to get us in the direction of where the story with Nightingale and whoever got her out of prison are going. It is the story, like Lark's stories tend to lead us on a path, versus the other two's narratives had their own open shut story that contributes to whatever their broader narrative is going to be. And so that's just something I feel like Lark's stories are more a part of the journey, whereas some of the other narratives are each story themselves. And so I am super curious to see especially what comes next. The next book is from a new POV character, and it is going to have this new POV character that's going to tie into both Lark and Nightingale and that whole story. So I'm curious to see how the writing of that one's going to feel, how the voice of that one's going to feel. This book, as with all of Aimee's work, just phenomenal writing, just phenomenal. Rose, the writing is just like, it's just going through and looking at these fucking quotes, it's just so many that I just obsess over, like so early on, just talking about the betrayals of Nightingale and everything that Lark has been going through with Nightingale. There's a line that says, they meet Wren's eyes, let out a soft sigh, and choose to let the defeat of it speak for itself. Like, that's just so good. I also adore the character dynamics between the groups. You don't get a ton of it because they are split up, and because the narrative is mostly focused on Lark and Nightingale, you really don't get a ton of the full group dynamic. But there's just this like the moment at the very beginning where Reveries like cracking jokes about like meeting Nightingale and stuff like that, and Lark is one of my cats is off their shit, just doing some laps. That's fine. There is a note, a line at the beginning, Reverie's cracking jokes, like making light of the whole Nightingale thing, and Lark just wants to take a moment to Lark takes a moment to kind of bring in the reality of how dangerous Nightingale is. And it gets to a point where we get to this. Lark says, just be careful, Reverie, Lark says to her, putting a hand on her shoulder. As you said, you're too pretty to die here. Reverie's fear gives way to one of her astonishing smiles. I'm too pretty to die in a tiny village with a dirt road. Dying in a place of ancient magic and mystery would make a good song. Counter argument, not dying at all, Ren suggests. Because I'm pretty, Reverie asks, fluttering her eyelashes in her direction. Ren shrugs. Because you're a good person who helps people, but sure, because you're pretty. Like, that's just, I love them. That's just so much fun. That's so much fun. Where is, because there's also, because one of the things about Lark is that Lark has a dragon eye on, it seems like a fucking dare. They cut their own eye out and put a dragon eye in, and it off like something happened, magic, there was some like other being contributed some magic omnisciently basically, and gave them the ability to use that dragon eye, and the eye gives them the power to see people's emotions. And we get some really nice like dialogue discussing what that is, what that experience is for them. Let me see if I can find one. Let me see if I can find the line talking. I might have passed it. Here, it's a full passage. It's a full passage. Let me scroll down to it. Also, again, my doodles, my goose. I'll never get sick of drawing this asshole of a goose. It's great. He's a monster. It is a very long passage, so I'm going to it. It starts here. Oh, you can fit the thing. Nightingale grabs Lark by the shirt as the snake lunges again and takes Lark for their first +1 portal ride. For a fleeting moment, they are somewhere else entirely, a place of pure darkness, and when Lark shouts, no new air fills their lungs. As they appear in the corridor 20 feet back down towards the first trial gate, they gasp desperately for oxygen. Nightingale hits the wall. Lark slams into her, bumping her glasses a shoe. Without thinking, Lark reaches up to adjust them. As they have so many times in the past, Nightingale is dead still. Usually that would signal something dangerous, an act of violence incoming, but her pupils are dilated, and for the first time in a long time, a soft pulse of gold and blue escapes into her aura, her genuine surprise betrayed. There, Lark says, cursing their traitorous hands and treacherous heart, and every inch of them refusing to remember she is the enemy now, not a friend or anything close. Like, that's just good writing, and it's a light detail to show more of that magical power, that seeing emotions that they have. It's so good. I love it. I also love, I genuinely fucking adore this line describing because the trials are triggered when you like you touch a gem and magic happens. And I just love this line discussing what just almost the lore of it. So this is, I believe, Reverie is doing the trial, and it goes, strongest of all, the questions delivered are ones enchanted by people so long dead they are half mythical. When building this protection, this intricate place of guardianship, could they have imagined how long this place would stand? Did they know that the voices of the trials would be all that remained, the last voices to speak for them? I love that line. I adore that line, and this book is just full of just lines like that. This author's writing is full of lines like that, and I love it so much. Absolute fan. But yeah, that is essentially the gist of The Labyrinth Begins. The Labyrinth Beckons. I enjoyed the book. I liked the book. I'm excited to see what is to come next with the book, with the series. I'm so curious about what this next book's going to end up looking like, what it's going to be about. I'm so curious. It feels like there's going to be a lot of big shit going on in this next book, and I'm dying to read it. But I do also want to throw out there that this author does have a new book coming out in like the next month or so. It is she's got this vampire werewolf adventure romantasy that I love. I read the beta version of this book and I adore it. I'm obsessed with it. I pre-ordered the book, and I would also like to get a copy of the physical book to get this on my shelves because I love this book. It's so good. It was just so well done. It's long. It's a very long book. But I recommend every single page of it. The link for the pre-order of that is down below. If you do pre-order, she's doing a pre-order. Let me actually, do I have the link directly to the pre-order? Let me see if I can do that really quickly, because so that way, oh, Nugget's sleeping. I'll show you Nugget before I leave, because I want to put the actual link for the pre-order in there, because like her links page, whatnot, because that is going to have the pre-order is going to be, you get the first 4 chapters, I think, if once you submit the proof of pre-order, and then you also will get a Valentine's like spicy you'll get a Valentine's spicy collection of stories or something to that effect is the other like major pre-order prize, I guess you'd call it. Let me put the actual pre-order link on here. Go to notes. Oh, refresh. Refresh, please. Yes. Just double checking that is the right link. Neat. I'm fixing that now. So the other link was just to the Amazon page, but this is gonna have the link to the pre-order. It's like the link tree, so it's the pre-order as well as the place you're gonna go to submit the proof of pre-order. That is all fixed up, and that way you can get all of the prizes. You can get the additional short story, you can get the first 4 chapters to check it out immediately. Highly recommend checking out this book. I'm very, very excited to read the final copy, talk about it, gush about it, all of the things. But that is pretty much all from me on this book. Thank y'all so much for watching, and until next time, Valediction, friends.